Nolan was just a guy that if you were feeling down, he's gonna put a smile on your face. He always found a way to make me laugh, even though he was getting on my last nerve. But I always love him, man. Like that guy was like he was a blessing. Like like Nolan literally did everything with me. Like if he wasn't going somewhere, I wasn't going somewhere. If I was going, he was going. Like we were just like we were literally like brothers. Like honestly, like we did everything. We talked every day. We could be like he'll be at college. Obviously I was still in high school. We'd come back down, still have the same bond. Like always, we will always have that brother. It's been hard, honestly. Like it's really stressful. Like with everything that's been going on, it doesn't feel real. Like it just hurts really bad, and I just wish things were differently. Like it's hard because things don't add up, and I wish I could just talk to my best friend every day again, and I can't do that anymore, and it just hurts so bad. And I feel like people will just on the internet just running with narratives that they don't know, saying I was the last to leave him. If I was last to leave Nolan, Nolan would still be with us today.
They killed my baby. I don't.
4:31 in the afternoon. A boat pulls away from Horn Island. Nolan Wells isn't on it. 2 days later, his body surfaces in the same water his friends called for a tow from. No confession, no arrest. Just an 18-year-old's life ending somewhere between a phone call about a broken bilge pump and a search that came 2 days too late. This is the case of Nolan Wells. And right now, nobody outside a handful of people on that island knows exactly what happened. Nolan was 18, a football player good enough that college coaches were starting to notice. The kind of kid who grabbed your phone out of your hand just to take a picture of the moment. His mother calls him a peacemaker, someone who hated division so much it worried her. On July 4th, he took a boat out to Horn Island with friends. 10 miles off the Mississippi coast. No bridge, no road, you get there by water and you leave the same way. GPS logs show the boat landing at 11:14 that morning. For hours, nothing unusual. Then, sometime around 3 p.m., Nolan is last seen on the island. Not long after, a call goes out. The boat's taking on water. A dispatcher asks if everyone on board is accounted for. Yeah, everybody's on board. Everybody except Nolan. At 4:31, the boat leaves without him. It docks, it gets towed to a house in Biloxi, and somewhere in the hours after that, a search begins that should have started the moment that boat left the island short one person. It didn't. Nolan's mother reports him missing that night. The Coast Guard, State Marine Police, and park rangers start combing the water. Not for hours, for days. On the morning of July 6th, a park ranger finds him, in the same stretch of water where that tow call was made, 2 days. That's the gap nobody's explained yet. Not the friends who left the island, not the investigators still working the case, not anyone. Nolan's mother didn't get a call about his phone. She had to find it herself. Using Life 360, the family tracked his phone to land, while they were being told he'd gone missing on the island. A family friend eventually retrieved it from the house where the group had been staying. Then the keys. Nolan's father showed up at that same house asking for them. First answer, nobody could find them. A few minutes later, they turned up, on top of an Xbox. Small thing. Except it's the kind of small thing that makes a father stop trusting the story he's being told. Then there's the video. A recording from July 4th capturing someone yelling. When it started circulating, people assumed it was Nolan, mid-argument, right before he disappeared. And there's a detail attorneys for the family keep coming back to. Whoever's yelling, whatever it is, it's the last piece of tape anyone has before Nolan Wells goes silent. His phone tells its own story too. When his mother and sister went through it, Snapchat was empty. No saved photos, no snaps from that day. For a kid who documented everything, who'd interrupt you at bedtime just to get a picture, that's not nothing. And the accounts don't line up. One version says Nolan planned to get back on the boat. The friends who left the island say he chose to stay. Both can't be true, which brings back the 2-day gap. Nolan goes missing the night of the 4th. Search crews are already out on the water by the 5th. His body isn't found until the morning of the 6th, in the same spot the friends called for a tow from hours before they left. Nobody's reconciled any of it. Not the phone, not the keys, not the conflicting stories, not the 2 days. That's what's driving the family to run their own investigation alongside the official one, including a second autopsy done far from Mississippi by a doctor with no ties to the people they no longer trust to give them a straight answer. Some of this has since been cleared up. The yelling on that video everyone assumed was Nolan. A friend of his, Triseston Shepard, went on Good Morning America and said it was him yelling, not Nolan, not a fight involving Nolan. One less mystery, though it doesn't answer the bigger ones. A photo claiming to show Nolan at a pool party that same night turned out to be from a different day entirely. Another video some people swore had his voice on it. The person who filmed it came forward and said, no, it didn't. Misinformation moves fast in a case like this. Faster than facts do. What hasn't cleared up, the cause of death. Investigators say they suspect drowning. They haven't confirmed it. The state autopsy results, the family's independent one, both still sitting unreleased. The Jackson County Sheriff's Department is running the investigation, with the FBI reportedly involved. They've asked for every unedited photo and video from that day, particularly anything showing Nolan or any kind of confrontation. Some of the young men who were with him have cooperated. The sheriff himself has said, plainly, that getting this right takes longer than people want it to. No arrests. The district attorney says the evidence goes to a grand jury, so here's where it sits. A confirmed timeline built off GPS pings and a recorded distress call. A working theory nobody's proven. A family that's not letting this go quiet, and a 2-day gap between when Nolan went missing and when he was found that still doesn't have an explanation attached to it. Nothing here is finished. Not the autopsy, not the investigation, not the story.
Hey Boo Bears, I know you probably did not expect to see me, but I had to come on because I wanted to acknowledge all of your love, your support, your kindness that you guys have been showing me. I wanted to, answer each and every one of you, and I probably will at some point. I will at some point, but right now it's just, everything is so heavy. Everything is so heavy. Just been going through the motions. I'm a healthcare provider, so I talk about grief a lot. And now to be on the other side of this is, it's a lot. So I lost my mom a few years ago, and that was hard. This loss, this grief, this pain, it's different. It's insurmountable. And then it's like you get these flood of emotions all at different times, and grief is so multi-layered. 1 second I might be okay and I can talk about things and I can listen to his stories, and then the next minute I am falling apart and I feel like I can't breathe, and I feel like there is an elephant just sitting on my chest. But I know this is the process. I have a wonderful support system. I have my faith in God, which I've been leaning heavy into. But I just wanted to let you guys know that I see you. I love you. I'm thankful for all of you. And I'm so sorry that I hadn't been able to reply. I don't know exactly when again I'll post. For some reason, it does help. And I know if Nolan was here, he'd be like, Mom, just keep talking to the people, keep telling my story, keep telling your story. So that is going to be my plan. Again, thank you all so much. I love you, and I will talk to you later. Bye.
That the loyalty would be questionable because he was the only black person in this circle that he was in this day.
This is the thing. Regardless of the color of anyone's skin, your hope is that the people your children call friends will.
More on the mysterious death of Nolan Wells. We're joined by his parents, Christine and Elmore Wansley, as well as their attorney, Ben Crump. And before we get started, first off, I want to thank you for being here under these circumstances. I know how extremely tough it must be, and we can express how sorry we are for you and your family. And first question, how are you two holding up?
Taking it second by second.
Day by day.
Second by second and day by day, which we all can understand. And I just want to ask you, the friends that Nolan traveled to Horn Island with, they say that he stayed behind voluntarily. Why would he stay behind?
That we cannot answer. I can't fathom why he would. I
don't know why he would. We always taught him to, if you go with a group, you stay with a group. Mm-hmm. Even when he was in college, he would say, Dad, well, we're gonna ride down to a party or something in another city. Now, so I was out telling him, look, if you go with 5, you come back with 5. Do not separate from the group. Because I always said, safety is in numbers. Mm-hmm. And he always said, yes, sir. So he knew to stay with his group. So why would he split from his group? I don't know.
So that would have been unusual for him to split from the group. Yeah. And you said he would always check in with you. Did he check in with you that day?
So that day, no, I don't. But of course, too, they were on the boat. And usually when he is out there, which it's not uncommon, he's, I think, since last year, he's been going there occasionally with his friends. And so it would always just be like, hey, Mom, I'm back, type of thing. But this time there was no call or text from him. It was from his friend.
And then too, really didn't worry a lot about it because it was his last weekend to have fun. Yeah. Because that Monday he had to report to school. And we was preparing to take him back for camp to prepare for the season. So, we understand he wanted to have his last hurrah before he locked down and get ready for the season. Because like I said, the entire summer he's training. He got more serious. He started to understand what I was trying to tell him about. Football not just being fun, but as you get farther in it, it becomes a business. If you want to excel, and you have to understand, and you have to understand both at the same time.
And we know, Ben, that you said that you're going to do an independent investigation.
Yes.
And you say you have Nolan's cell phone and messages were deleted. How could you tell messages were deleted?
Well, his parents got the phone back, and that's something that's important, Michael, because they tracked this phone on Life 360.
So Life 360, but when I received the phone call from Warren, I immediately called my friend Tashima, and I said, hey, have you guys seen Nolan? Because her 2 sons, Jalen and Javon, they grew up together. They played City League sports together. When they got into school, they played sports together. And so she was like, hey, okay, the boys were pulling up the location from Snapchat. So the Snapchat location looks completely different than the Life 360 location. So when I pulled up Life 360, it was different. It was showing everywhere the phone had been. I was like, well, it's showing that he's back on land. I'm not. He's like, but no, he didn't come back with us.
Well, how were you able to get the phone?
So we tracked it, and my friend Tashima went and picked it up.
It wasn't like they said we got his phone. They tracked it, and that highlights all these contradictions, Michael. The fact that they said Nolan was talking to a young woman, and she said that he said, I'm going back to get on the boat with the boys. The boys said that he said he was going to stay with her. And so that's an obvious contradiction. And then this video of this, you can hear an argument going where Nolan is saying, give me my freaking phone. What are you freaking doing? And so then his phone ends up missing. I don't know any teenagers, Michael Strahan, who says, if you believe their story, I'm gonna stay behind and I'm gonna leave my phone. I mean, no young person leaves their cell phone. And so then there's so many things their parents were telling us about, even why didn't his body wash up with the tide on Sunday? Why would it come on Monday? It's not adding up. And that is the problem when you think about the history of Mississippi.
Yeah, so there's so many questions that need to be answered. And is there anything you'd like people to know about Nolan? What would you like them to know about your son?
No,
It's okay.
Nolan, take your time. Nolan was very loving. He was liked by all. It was not a friend that he couldn't make.
No, we'll be right back with more for the parents of Nolan Wells and attorney Ben Crump. We're back now on GMA with the parents of Nolan Wells, Christina and Elmore Wansley. And I want you to please continue to tell us what you want the world to know about your son.
So Nolan was just like this bright light, right? Walk into a room, his smile, his energy was just so infectious. Like it's almost like he drew you into him. And he was just one of those people, like he always wanted everyone to be included. He didn't want anyone to feel left out. I remember one of his teachers emailing us. I can't remember what grade he was in, but basically it was math class. They had a special needs student, and she asked a question, and Nolan got everyone to put their hands down because he wanted that student to answer. And so student answers the question, and she was like, Christine, the classroom, Nolan went crazy, and everyone else started going crazy, just celebrating that child. Making them feel included. And that was the person he was. Like he loved everyone. And I always told Nolan, like, you have to be careful when you have such a big heart like that. I love that God blessed you with that, but you have to be careful with that because that it's not always returned, that type of love. But he was just genuinely a good person. Like I always say, all the best parts of me are with him.
And Dad, anything else you want to add?
It's just, he's gonna be really missed. I know a lot of his teammates, they all look to him as a leader. He's more like a silent leader. Not real big on words, more action, which is kind of like I was. I really wasn't real big on talking. I really wanted to show you and you follow me, and people followed him. And it's gravitated. He put in the work, he worked hard, and he knew he was focused on what he wanted. And he wanted to make life better for, his family. He wanted to have his own family. He used to say, Dad, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to build this. I said, well, son, you got to take it one step at a time. Slow down, let's go, let's walk this thing out. Let's train, let's sign our deals, let's make these teams, make these camps, put the work in, and everything else will work out. Even his baby brother, their bond got even stronger because now I have a big brother that he's finna do something, so now I want to outdo that. So his focus and his confidence has got even better. So I was looking forward to both of them having outstanding years.
Seasons,
He seemed like he inspired in the home and he inspired outside of the home. And Attorney Crump, where do we go from here? What's next?
Well, the deleted messages that Christina was going to briefly touch on, we want to get the phone and figure that out.
Backtrack on that. When we finally got his phone, me and my sister went through the phone. We went in his Snapchat. He had 2 accounts, absolutely nothing. It wasn't even 24 hours, which is how long videos and pictures stay in Snapchat. And I was just like, that can't be. Like, I've seen Nolan whenever he snaps, like when he goes and he's having fun, like he does videos, like there was absolutely nothing, no saved videos. And even my sister was like, yeah, that's suspicious,
Michael, we having an independent autopsy done at the behest of his family. Colin Kaepernick helped pay for the independent autopsy. We flew his body up from Mississippi to D.C. because they wanted an autopsy done by a person with no interaction with the Mississippi law enforcement, because there's an issue of trust here that is really important. And the fact that they keep trying to say, well, suggesting it was a drowning, but nobody out there reported him drowning, it's not adding up, Michael Strahan. It is not adding up.
And honestly, we are doing this because at the end of the day, I would hope any parent would fight for their kids to find out if anything happened, what did happen. So we just want honesty and transparency. We want a thorough investigation. We want that same respect that would be given to anybody else, and that's it. We just want answers.
Well, we really appreciate all of you being here. We hope you get the answers that you deserve to have, and we hope you get the closure that you need. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Mike.
So now to the latest on the mysterious death of Nolan Wells. For the first time since Wells' body was found, we're hearing from a friend of the 18-year-old who was with him on the day that he died. Trayston Shepard, who says that he was with Wells on the 4th of July, but declined to speak on camera because of the threats that he says he's been receiving.
We did no wrong here, and we don't understand how we're getting so much hate behind it. We all cared and loved Nolan, and nobody wanted to see Nolan die. Nobody wanted to see his life be taken so short.
All right, Kajachi, and also legal analyst and attorney Brian Buckmeyer join me now for more. So, Ike, what more are we learning about why Wells stayed behind and didn't go back to the mainland with his friends?
Yeah, Kira, this has really been at the center of everything. This question, why did Nolan Wells stay behind when everyone else decided to actually leave the island? Well, now we're hearing from someone who was there that day. His childhood friend, Trayston Shepard, said that the boat that they came on experienced an electrical issue and they had to go back to shore because of that. And he says Nolan told the group he wanted to stay behind because he'd met a girl and planned to catch a ride back on another friend's boat. Now, Shepard described this trip as one last hurrah before everyone scattered back to school and work after this holiday. There were about 300 people on that island that day. A lot of them were high school classmates. They knew each other, and they wanted to spend this time as just one big party before everyone dispersed wherever they needed to go. But according to his friend, Trayston Shepard said that this wasn't anything sinister at all. It was an 18-year-old who wanted to have fun, but Kira, as we know, that 18-year-old Nolan Wells never made it back to shore.
Well, and Brian, Trayston also addressed the viral video. Investigators, I've been looking into, saying he's actually the one yelling, not Wells. How crucial is that?
Kira, I think it's very crucial in the sense of now we know who's yelling, why they were yelling, and according to Trayston, it had nothing to do with what Nolan Wells was doing. Instead, giving us a description that a stranger was kind of getting in his face and he was yelling at him. This closed down one avenue of investigation, and while that might be heartbreaking that it doesn't give us an answer, eliminating possibilities as to what happened will hopefully steer us in the right direction, finding the right reason as to why everything happened. And then going back to something that Ike said, I hope that with Trayston saying Wells was there talking to a girl, that we can get a description of that girl, what she was wearing, who she might be, and follow up on more questions.
So then, Brian, at this point of the investigation, it's the autopsy that I know we're all waiting to hear about, because that will definitely help us try to figure out what exactly happened, right?
Yes, the autopsy is probably the next step and probably the biggest step in determining what happened here. Autopsies do two things. It tells you the cause of death and the manner of death. It could be any number of things in terms of being a homicide, an accident. I don't believe it's going to be a natural death, but that determination is going to be important. But then also, of course, the cause. What caused Nolan Wells to die? Is it strictly the drowning? Was it something else? Is there blunt force trauma? That's going to give us a lot more answers and hopefully some questions that lead to the ultimate question and answer of what happened to Nolan Wells and how did he die.
All right, Ike, Brian, thank you both.